Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And it's my second review from this week's final episode. And today we're going to be talking about Ariela and Biniyam. So this is 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way, Season 2, Episode 22, Never Stop Fighting. Don't worry, they won't. Guys, I'm nearing my 35,000 mark. I've just got 100 more subscribers to go. So if you haven't done yet, please press that red button. And also don't forget to press the thumbs up if you like the video. And I've got a bit of a surprise for my 35,000 subscriber mark. But I'll let you know a few more details nearer the time. So without further ado, I give you Ariela and Biniyam. And we first catch up with this couple. And they're with baby Avi. And they're on the way to the celebration of Timka. What? Timka? Well, apparently, in Ethiopia, Timka is the celebration of the baptism of Jesus Christ. And it's a massive countrywide annual event. And Biniyam explains there'll be loads going on. There'll be the following. 1. Singing. 2. Celebrating. 3. Dancing. Oh, I do hope Biniyam's dance partner's going to be around. You know, Bongo Bum. But the eBird thinks there'll be much more. I think there's also going to be 4. Arguing. 5. Shouting. 6. Screaming. But then Biniyam lets us know, via production, that he's going to ask Ariela for her hand in marriage today. He's going to propose. And I think we're all in for a round of 7, scepticism, 8, incredulity, and 9, disbelief. Oh my God, Biniyam, you're going to get married? You've yet to stop arguing. Let's hope there's a gap between arguments in which you can ask her. Now Biniyam, look at me. Blink twice if you want to be released. Honestly, we know how to help people in your situation. We know how to help people like you. And I can't help but to think he wants to get married to order so he can ensure the proposal's on TV cameras for maximum publicity. I'm not saying they shouldn't get married, I just don't know if he would have chosen now if not for TLC. But this piqued my interest for a slightly different reason. So when they were in the car earlier on, Biniyam was fidgeting around a little bit and Ariela said, "What's wrong with you? Why do you look so nervous?" And he said, no, I'm just excited. It's a big celebration today. And she said, well, you look really nervous. And he went, why would I look nervous? She said, I don't know, you tell me, but you look nervous. And the reason I found this very interesting is because week in, week out, we've had them arguing, their disconnect, her not understanding his religion or his family structure, him not understanding her protectiveness over baby Avi, or her penchant for basic health and safety rules. And we haven't really seen them actually understanding each other that much. And so this just demonstrates to me that they are getting to know each other a lot better. Because although she had no idea the reason why, she knew for some reason, you look very nervous. And I do think behind all the TV cameras, they know each other a lot more than we imagine. And so they arrive at the massive field and people are singing and praying. And Ariela says straight away, oh my God, it's loud. And Biniyam has baby Avi strapped to him and you can tell immediately that Ariela's very worried for the baby. And she said, it's so loud. And Biniyam said, it's not loud. Biniyam, it's loud. I'm all the way in the UK, you're in Ethiopia and I can hear it. And they walk closer and closer to where the massive speakers are. And it's getting louder and louder. And they're singing in, I guess, Arabic or, well, what is it called? Amharic. And I've got to say, things do seem a little bit louder when you don't know the song, and this one's not the catchiest. So at the front of the field there's 2 priests standing on some scaffolding and they're spraying the water from a hose pipe on the crowd. And people are shouting as they want them to spray the water on them. Biniyam explains this is holy water. And Ariela seems distinctly underwhelmed. And she tells us they're spraying water out of a garden hose. I've no idea where the water's from and I've no idea what makes it holy. But they're all pushing up against each other and they're all desperate to be sprayed with this water. What makes this water holy? Oh, come on, Ariela. Are we really going to try and scientifically analyse the specific properties that determine whether something is holy or not? We can say that about anything from any religion. What makes a church holy? What makes a temple holy? Ariela, please stop being obtuse, it doesn't become you. And so as the event wears on, I've got to admit, it starts to get a little full on. And there's loads of jostling and pushing around. And everyone's gesticulating to the 2 priests to try and get this holy water over them. And Biniyam said, I think Hari's worried about getting wet. No, she's not, Biniyam. It looks like you're in 40-degree heat. She's not worried about water. She's not the Wicked Witch from the West. She's not going to melt. She's obviously and clearly worried about her 4-month-old son. And both of these guys are beginning to get on my nerves because they're both saying ridiculous things which they know not to be true. Oh, how is the water holy? Oh, I think she's scared of getting wet. You're both willfully trying to misunderstand the other person. Is that helpful or conducive to a good relationship? I don't think it is. And then finally, the moment we were all waiting for, Ariela snapped and she said, right, that's it, Biniyam. That's enough. We're going. And she turned on her heel to walk out of the field. And Biniyam said, what's wrong with you? Do you want to ruin our day? And Ariela explained, there's too much pushing, jostling. It's not good for the baby. Biniyam followed her. And then to producers he said, I think it's Ariela's evil spirit that's scared of the holy water. Oh, Biniyam, I understand that you're both from different cultures. And to some extent, I always sympathise with Biniyam. Having been brought up in the 80s and 90s, health and safety was not at all what it is now. So I do kind of get you think that Ariela's been OTT. But even if she is, which I don't agree with, I think she is being fair. It's not just to be mean, she's genuinely worried about her baby. Maybe Biniyam's a little bit more relaxed because it's his second child, but it's Ariela's first. And of course she's going to be uptight if he's in any sort of dangerous situation. But Ariela's biologically programmed to be extremely worried about her baby at all times. And I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm not going to make her wrong for that. So they walk out of the crowd and they're both arguing back and forth. And Ariela said, don't yell at me, do not point your finger in my face, give me Avi. This is enough for Avi and it's enough for me. And Biniyam looked heartbroken and he gave baby Avi over to Ariela. And he looked a mixture between sulky and angry. And Biniyam finished up by saying Ari is such an annoying person, she's so selfish and she thinks only of herself. And like I said before, I do think she's thinking about the baby. But I can see that he's really mad because it's very early in the day. And he said, let's go home then. And I'm pretty certain when he said, let's go home, he was waiting for her to say, no, we don't need to go home, we can stay, but let's stay on the outskirts. But she just looked at him and she didn't say anything. Well, Ariela, what Biniyam hasn't told you is if you stick around for the afternoon, there's going to be all sorts going on. At 2 p.m sharp, there's a bit of live animal slaughter. We certainly don't want to miss that. And at 3 to 3:15 p.m, there'll be a seminar. And it's all about that place that you don't like being mentioned. Okay, let's have a game of Where Am I? The place rhymes with hotel and motel, drug cartel, and not that swell. Ooh, what else? Well, it's hot and it's fiery, and some say you'll burn for all eternity. Dante can talk you through the 9 concentric circles of it. And Botticelli's done quite a detailed ordnance survey of the area. And there's a guy down there, what's that chap's name again? You know the one, he's grim and he reaps. But I don't want to spoil it for you, you'll hear all about it a little bit later. But Biniyam says Ariela's really selfish and she thinks only of herself and she only does what she wants. And I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I'd like to put forth the following. 1. She had the circumcision against her better wishes. 2. She had the baby baptised. She didn't want to. She knew her dad wouldn't be that happy, but yet she went ahead with it. She had her baby in Ethiopia and not in America where she's got full healthcare and where her dad is a doctor and her mum is a nurse. So she ostensibly put herself at much more risk so that you, Biniyam, could be present at the birth of your baby. She's living in a 2-room apartment in Addis Ababa instead of a massive house in New Jersey. So I don't really find it's the mark of a selfish person. Is she a moaner? Yep, she is. Is she a complainer? Correctamundo. But there's one thing she isn't, and that's selfish. I really don't think you can put selfishness at her door at this point. And so they walk away from the event and Biniyam is walking like a 4-year-old child as if he's being dragged away early from a party or from the fairground. He's dragging his legs behind him reluctantly. And Ariela's still chuntering away to herself, saying this isn't the pace for a 4-month-old baby to be all day. And Biniyam tells production he wants to propose, but Ari just won't stop nagging, so it probably won't happen. And they decide to go to his brother's house. I thought you were going home, Biniyam. I thought not. So when they get there, Ariela sits down and decides to feed the baby, and then Biniyam decides, I'm going to go and celebrate Timcat by myself. And he leaves Ariela and the baby in his brother's house, and off he goes back to the field. But when she finishes feeding Avi, she leaves the baby with Mimi, his older sister, and she goes out to find Biniyam. And then there was one of those 90-day fiancé unforgettable moments. She finally found Biniyam in the field and she said, I love you. And he gave a little grin. And then the choir was singing and everybody got in a big circle and Biniyam got down on one knee and presented her with a ring out of a traditional lemon. And he proposed to Ariela and she said, yes, I'll marry you. And guys, it was quite funny because after she'd said I'll marry you and everybody cheered and they hugged each other, and then two guys came along with a big banner and unfurled the banner which said, "Will you marry me?" Well, she can't agree to marry you again because she's already agreed. And Biniyam looked at them and said, "You guys are too late." And he gave Ariela a big kiss and everybody cheered. And that's where we leave these guys for today. So what does the Ebird think of today's argument? Well, I do think Ariela's very protective of Avi, but I think Biniyam should try and cut her a little bit more slack. I don't believe she aimed to spoil the day. She dressed up properly in all of the Ethiopian clothes, but it was a very packed field they were standing on. Obviously to Biniyam, this water was holy water and he was desperate to get him and the baby underneath this water, but I don't know if he really communicated that properly to Ariela. And as I said last week, communication is key between these two and they communicate very, very poorly. Ariela had no idea what she was going to expect on this park that day, and if she had have done, I think she could have been more mentally ready. And I think Biniyam, instead of saying to Ariela, "Okay, what can we do? How do you think we should resolve this?" he just said, "Well, you're trying to ruin the day. What's wrong with you?" So yet again, they both have to try and have open lines of communication. I am virtually certain that Biniyam gives Ariela the least amount of information on any given event because he thinks she'll pull out before. So I think he's consistently springing things on her. And I think Ariela is the kind of person that needs quite a while to get her head around anything. I quite like Biniyam actually. I think he's quite an easygoing person, but I don't feel that he tries really hard to understand Ariela at certain points. And I found it quite strange this week when he characterised her behaviour as selfish. And it was clear she just didn't want the baby in a massive crush of people. I think that out of all the couples, they have a very good chance, I think, of staying together in the long term. I think the first reason is, quite simply, that both of them want to. So they both want to be active in bringing up baby Avi. And I also think that if Biniyam does get to the United States, life will be easier for them. Because Ariela's parents are quite well off, so they won't have the financial strain that they have at the moment. But I guess time will tell. Let me know in comments down below what you guys think. Guys, thank you so much for listening and so much for all your support. And very quickly before I go, if you haven't done so yet, press subscribe. It's great over here, it's a lot of fun. Listen to the Ebird vent. Also don't forget to smash like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back very soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.